I basically took out chunks of the year where it was just eat, sleep, swim. Sacrifice. I think a lot of times you kind of have to mentally say, okay, even though I can't do this, it's because of a bigger purpose. I want to train because I want to make it to the Olympics. Swimming is a sport where you see a lot of the body. So sometimes it can be very hard with body image.
Hey guys, happy new year and welcome back to the first episode of 2025 here on Catch Ups in My Kitchen with me, Georgia Simmons, host of the podcast. In my kitchen this week, I am joined by Julimar, who is an Olympic swimmer. And this was the first Olympic swimmer, or Olympian even, I have had on the podcast, which was so exciting. So I wanted to ask Julimar a lot of questions about the training going to the Olympics, the dedication, the sacrifice, the mental strength you have to have as a professional athlete. I also wanted to ask her some more superficial questions, such as being on your period as a swimmer. What does that even mean? What does that look like? Your hair. How do you manage washing your hair twice a day as a girl? That's a lot. Makeup. Are you allowed to wear makeup in the pool? Do you wear makeup in the pool? Like all these things I was so curious about. And also like the nutritional side, getting up at 5:20 in the morning for training. Like, are we having breakfast? Are we not? Have you seen a nutritionist? What do they say? What does like a day in the life of eats look like? I had a lot of questions, but honestly, it was amazing to have her here. She is incredible. She went to Tokyo and I was really intrigued at being a part of the Tokyo Olympics when it was a pandemic, like how did that look like versus being there in Paris where the vibe and the atmosphere was completely different. So we had a deep dive on all things Olympics, all things being an athlete. And honestly, it was an absolute pleasure to have her. So you're in for a real treat. This is the first episode of 2025. We have so much exciting things coming your way. Please keep supporting the podcast. It means the world to me. Click that follow, subscribe button if you haven't already. And yeah, please keep supporting. So without further ado, let's meet Julimar. Julimar, welcome to my kitchen. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited.
I am really excited too. Do you mind quickly giving an elevator pitch? Who you are and what you do before we start?
Oh, sure. My name is Julimar Avila. I am a two-time Olympian competing in both Tokyo 2020 and Paris 2024. I'm also a Boston University graduate in human physiology. I also have a grad certificate in health informatics and a master's from Imperial College Business School in international health management.
I mean, wow. Honestly, we've never had an Olympian on here. So this is the first.
Okay,
this is very exciting. Kicking off 2025 with an Olympian, which is great.
Amazing.
So we have a quick fire round about all things food. And this is the first quick fire round with new questions. So I'm excited. Favorite restaurant in London?
Naroon.
Good one.
Yeah.
What is your go-to Deliveroo?
Rose's Thai.
Yeah, good. Yeah. What is your hangover meal?
Ooh. Okay. When growing up in Boston, a sausage, egg, and cheese, and now hot take on a cinnamon raisin bagel. I know that's really strange.
Hold on. So a cinnamon raisin bagel with
sausage, egg, and cheese.
Wow.
It's like sweet and salty.
Okay, that's niche, but I like it.
Yeah.
Okay, what is your favorite coffee shop?
Ooh. Naive.
Okay,
yes.
Where's that?
It's in Fulham.
Okay.
Yes.
I actually think I have walked past it. Never been in though.
It's really good. It's conveniently placed next to my job. So always a staple place.
Yes, that's good. And what food for you is an absolute no-no?
Oh, no. I'm so annoying. Anytime somebody's like, what do you want to eat? I'm always like, I'm easy. So I don't know if there is a no-no.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't think I have
That's
one.
a dream. I am the opposite. I'm like everyone's worst nightmare. They're like, oh my God, you again. I'm like, yeah, sorry.
Yeah, no, I eat everything.
And what's your favorite dish to cook at home?
Ooh, like a noodle stir fry.
Oh,
yeah,
nice.
Boom.
Yeah, is it salmon? Is it chicken? Is it veggie?
So typically chicken, lots of veggies, egg noodles, and then I like to throw in some gochujang and teriyaki sauce. Yeah.
I actually love a noodle dish. So good.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to start with your childhood. Can you go back and kind of explain a bit about you growing up and then when swimming kind of came into the equation?
Yeah, so honestly, swimming actually came very early on. So my mom wanted to learn how to swim. So from 7 months, I was already in the water because she had to take me to the pool when she was getting her swim lessons. Yeah.
Wow, so you guys learned together.
Yeah, basically. So I was there. My brother was also in the States at this time. So he would kind of take care of me in the corner of the pool. My mom was getting her swim lessons, but I was really annoying. I didn't want other people with my mom. So my mom had to hold me while she was doing the lessons. So it was basically like a mommy and me class.
I love that.
Yeah, and then starting from there, my dad is also a physical education teacher, retired now, but was, and then a athletic director. So he was very much into sports. So then from that start, I was in every single sport. And then as I got better at swimming, he was kind of like, all right, if this is what you want to do, like we need to be disciplined. So from a young age, I was already in the pool. Yeah, right at 5, I was competing.
So I was going to say this, you competed at the age of 5. What
Yeah.
did that even look like? Because I don't even know what I was doing at 5, probably playing with Barbie dolls. So you're competing.
I was running around and splashing. Basically, I just kind of got involved in a lot of community kind of sports. So it was community pools. At the pool, there was multiple different activities that you could do. And so I would just hit every single one. And I would swim at the YMCA, which was really big there. So for a while, I was on a lot of teams because my parents loved to keep me busy, which I think has translated now to me living a very fast-paced life. But as a kid, I was kind of moving around from one pool, swimming with one team, competing to go swim with another. And then also in Honduras, when I would go visit family, my dad was kind of like, okay, if you're swimming, even at a young age, he was kind of like, you cannot miss training. So then I was like, okay. So then I joined my club team once I was 7 in Honduras, and then I started competing there as well.
That discipline is so important and so good. Does it now translate to all areas of your life?
I would say so. I think the great thing about having sport at a young age, or honestly any hobby, is that it teaches you time management. So I think from a young age to now, especially when I was at university and I wanted to be social but also study and have sport, I think the time management skills, the discipline, the knowing that I need a routine, that has translated and continues to be in my life now.
So good. And would you say you're competitive in all areas of life now?
Yeah. I think I'm a little bit toned down. I was insane when I was younger, where I was very competitive even in warm-up, which was the beginning of kind of your training session. Then I calmed down a little bit where I was like, okay, this isn't good for anybody. But now if we were to play a card game, I'd be relatively lax, but I'd be very upset if I lost. But I wouldn't go crazy. So
okay, I love that.
So I'm still fun to be around, but deep down in my head, I'm like, I need to win.
Yeah, no, 100%. And what about sacrifices? Because I feel with any sport, if you're going to take it professionally, you have to admit there are going to be sacrifices. What were they, or what kind of sacrifices did you have to go through?
Yeah, I think that was very tough come high school. So kind of choosing if I could go out with my friends after school, or I'd have to go to the library, do my homework, and go to training. A lot of times, I think when you're kind of a teenager, there's a lot of last minute plans. That was never a thing for me. I also went to school not very close to my home. So it was about a 40-minute drive. So if somebody wanted to hang out, I needed many days in advance, and I needed to know how I was going to get home. This is before I had my license. Even when I had my license, my parents were like, you need to be home at a certain hour. So a lot of times it was kind of picking and choosing, okay, when can I hang out? Can I even hang out? Or do I have to go to training? And also training would be really early in the morning as well. So it's not like I could stay out late. So I think that kind of made it tough for some friendships in high school. That was maybe the biggest sacrifice and even later on in life as well, I probably didn't go out as much during university, or even post-grad, when I was doing my master's and I was still trying to train for Paris. That was a bit tough.
And what does training look like? Obviously you're in the pool early morning, but are you also doing other workouts after at the end of the day? What does it look like?
Yeah, so typically I'll go from kind of my schedule when I was training for Paris, which was very similar to Tokyo as well, because I basically took out chunks of the year where it was just eat, sleep, swim.
This episode is brought to you by Wild Market, the online farmers market where farmers, fishermen, growers, pickers all come together to share the products and produce that they have grown and made. It really is the magic of a farmer's market from the comfort of your home wherever you are in the country. If you want to know more about Wild and their journey, Ella, the co-founder, came on Catch Ups in My Kitchen in episode 116. So check that out to hear more. As you guys know, I have been reintroducing a few animal products into my diet after being plant-based for about 6 years. But what's really important to me on my journey is where I get my animal products from. And Wild has been a huge part of that journey for me. For example, I can get fish from Cornwall 2 days after it has been caught. And it really does not get much fresher than that. Wild Market opens on a Friday and closes on a Wednesday, and then it's all delivered to your door in one convenient box on a Friday. So whether you are looking for dairy, meat, fish, pasta, Wild Market has you covered. Go to www.wild.market/mykitchen for £15 off your order. That is Wild spelt WYLDE. Then it is .market/mykitchen. I'll add all the details in the show notes. Thank you so much, Wild, for providing a service I'm absolutely obsessed with. Guys, if there's one thing you do this year, you've really got to place an order with Wild. Now let's get back to the episode.
So it was like wake up at 5:20, go to the gym from 6 to let's say 7:30, cycle to the pool, swim from 8 to 10 a.m., go home, eat like a bigger breakfast, kind of relax. I would also kind of do yoga, walk around just because I had a lot of free time, and then get ready to go back to the pool, swim again from 3 to 5, then go home, stretch a little bit, relax, talk to my housemates, and then go to sleep and start the next day.
Wow. So routine, but also just so, like, obviously so active, but everything is focused around muscles, like preventing any strain, like stretching, nourishment.
All proactive just for like the race. And some people, my race is at least like 2 minutes. Some people will race for less than 30 seconds. And it's kind of insane how much training goes into it for them to be as good as you want to be.
Completely. So talk about the moment when you were like, I want to get into the Olympics. When was that moment when you were like, this is what I want to do?
Yeah, I think from a young age, just touching the pool. I actually have a poem, I want to say from like 3rd grade, where it was called like Olympic Swimmer. My mom actually has it like in the house as well. Yeah, it's super cute. Yeah, and so I want to say 3rd grade, I was like, okay, if I'm good at this sport, maybe one day I can go to the Olympics. But I'll never forget in 2010, I went to this competition called CAMEX for Honduras. It was my first international competition ever representing them. It was in Guatemala. And I didn't win my first event, but I came in second. And then I think that was the moment where even just being on the podium, I wasn't listening to the national anthem because they always do only first place. But I was like, next race, I'm winning it. I want to hear my national anthem. Next race, I did end up winning. And then wearing the uniform, hearing the national anthem, I was like, okay, maybe one day this can be on a bigger stage.
Oh my gosh.
So I think that was really like my turning point.
Yeah. And then when you are at the Olympics, like, can we go through this in more detail? Because like obviously as we're like watching it on screens and I did actually go to London and I got like a feeling of the atmosphere, and the atmosphere is just incredible. But like talk about being at the Olympics, the feelings, the emotions, the stress, the strain. Like, can you go through that a little bit?
Yeah, I think what's really great is I had 2 different experiences, right? So Tokyo, pandemic, no spectators. Paris, obviously not pandemic, incredible atmosphere, insane amount of like spectators. So Tokyo, for some reason, I think because there weren't a lot of spectators, I was quite calm in the sense where I was kind of like, I'm just here and I'm zoned in and I'm locked in and this is the race that I'm going to do. Also, there was a whole ordeal when I was in Tokyo where I also got quarantined, which is like a whole big thing.
Oh, God.
Yeah, it was crazy.
But also that is a massive added stress to your mental state. But for
some reason, I was in such a good place. Yeah, it was actually kind of crazy. I picked up like cross stitching. I was like knitting in my room when I was quarantined in this hotel. Yeah, I was so calm because I think there's a part of me that was like, this is so out of my hands that there's no point in me stressing, which is very 180 to my normal self. Like, I'm very much a stressful person. But that kind of helped me, again, lock in where I was like, if I do, because I didn't actually know if I was going to be able to swim because of the time period and how long you had to wait. Even though I was getting tested every day, testing negative, you had to do 14 days. And my race like fell on the 14th day. So it was a little bit up in the air.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. But it kind of got to the point where I was like, if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, you know what? I'm quarantined, but I'm quarantined in Japan. I was like, I just have to roll with the punches and see what happens. Like, I'm still here at the Olympics. I did it. This was my goal. But I think that also pushed me for Paris, because I said that was not the experience that I had envisioned. Even though the village was incredible, the whole atmosphere was crazy, but I really wanted that experience that you're kind of thinking of when you think of London, where there's people yelling, like people cheering for you, my friends and family possibly coming to see me. So that really pushed me for Paris. And it was amazing, just walking around the village, being able to talk to people, being able to meet different athletes, going to different events as well, because that wasn't allowed in Tokyo, but I was able to go to so many different events in Paris. And just walking out when they do kind of the call out for your event and seeing everybody, that just is out of this world.
Yeah, that is incredible. And what about like the mental strength? I think with any sport, there's obviously the physical side to it, and that's obviously super important and the main part to an extent, but I actually think the mental side is just as important. So talk about the amount of mental strength that you have to kind of gain or grow or work on in your training.
I think one of the first steps is, as you were mentioning before, like sacrifice. I think a lot of times you kind of have to mentally say, okay, even though I can't do this, it's because of a bigger purpose. Like, there's another reason why I'm not able to go out with my friends, because I want to train, because I want to make it to the Olympics. So that already is a mental strain, especially as you're growing up like in your teens or like you're younger. Later on, before Tokyo, I didn't have a sports psych. And that was still perfectly fine. I think I was in a good place. After Tokyo, you kind of reach that high level of training. You get to that competition. And then I was going back to normal meets and I wasn't doing well. In my head, I think I had very much like imposter syndrome, where I said, okay, I'm not winning these like community meets. How did I even go to the Olympics? So that was really tough. And luckily at Imperial, I was working with Scholar Athletes. It was a program that I got into, and they provided me a sports psych, and she helped me tremendously. We worked from when I started my master's in 2022 all the way up until Paris. And so it was kind of building my self-confidence back up. So I think that was another mental strain as well. Like, where do you go once you reach the peak to get back to the peak? So that was really tough. But working with her, also, I think something that a lot of people don't really, sometimes we think about it, sometimes we don't. What happens outside of the pool very much affects like what happens inside of the pool, even if it's not sports related. Like, it might not just be that I'm not doing well in the gym. It might be like, oh, I'm fighting with my friends, or like I haven't spoken to my family in a minute, or like even my mom and I legit had like a little outburst. But I would tell my sports psych, because I was like, okay, all of this is happening, and I don't know if it's relating to me like not swimming well in the water, or sometimes I would be having a really bad outside of the water experience, but swimming really well, because I was like compartmentalizing. But she was like, you need to be in tune with everything for you to swim and do your best. And so that really helped me as well. I think that's the mental part.
I think that's so important to note, because I think we all speak a lot about like mind to body connection and like when you're in the gym, it's your time to like switch off and really focus on all of those things. And I think when you're thinking about competing, like you have to be so in tune and so tunnel vision that if you've got a slightest bit of distraction, it'll probably just throw you off completely.
Exactly.
And the pressure as well must be immense. That like, it's all got to be aligned. Are you able to kind of share like one of the dark moments where like in your training or in the build up where you're just like, oh my God, this is tough, because it's the Olympics for a reason. And I feel like, you know, that is huge and such an achievement, but to get there must be really tough. So can you share some of that?
I think one of the big ones was, there was a moment where after Tokyo, doing my master's, it was somewhat hard to balance everything, because again, I was trying to be social. I just moved to London. I wanted to go out to meet people, to network. I also needed to find time to do training. And it's not just obviously like fiddling around the water. You need to do elite training if you want to get to an elite level. So there was a moment where I had to just take a break, because I was like, I can't can I say half-ass?
Yeah, you can.
I was like, I can't half-ass both things because it's making me feel bad in both aspects of my life, where then I was like, I just need to stop. So I did take a break. And I needed to reevaluate, like, okay, what do I want to do? So there was a moment where I considered stopping, because also I had been offered a job. And so I said, okay, do I take the job, and do I take the job and swim, or do I just swim? So it was really difficult. I had gone to World Championships in Japan, and this is when the job was kind of like, okay, you need to decide what you want to do. And I was like, that's very fair. I also really need to focus on swimming.
Yeah.
So I was like, can I please get back to you in a little bit? So there I spoke to my parents. I spoke to some other people that work and train. I spoke to some people that just train. And I think that was a really hard moment for me to decide, like, okay, do I want to start this next chapter in my life, or do I put everything on pause again and train for Paris? So then that's when I fully decided to move to Colombia. My friend was training there, and she was like, why don't you just come and train here for a little bit? And I said, okay, cool. I did. That was great. But again, another sacrifice, right? So I just moved to London, and I was kind of like, okay, if I really want to do this for Paris, I need to uproot myself and go. So then come January, I moved to Bogota, and I was there all the way until training.
And why did that help in training? Like, why? What was good about going to Colombia?
Yeah, I think that it was a place where I could literally just eat, sleep, swim.
Yeah.
There were no distractions at all. I love London.
But it is distracting.
But it is a very distracting city.
Yeah.
But I think I also did a really great job of coming back and forth as well, because some people obviously really flourish in an area where they're just like zoomed in, right? But I think I also do well with having fun and having those breaks. So I would come back to London, I would like spend some weekends, spend some weeks here, and then go back. And I think that really helped me have a little bit of an out as well, and be like, okay, I am swimming, I am training, but also like, these are my friends. Like, my family came to visit for my graduation. I was like, I'm not missing my graduation, I'm coming back. And I think that even just that 1 week, I was kind of like, okay, now I can go back and lock in.
Do you think with people like having like working versus just training, I mean, there must be pros and cons, because with work, there must be an element of routine and a structure.
Yeah.
But then with just training, you're just training.
Yeah.
Which means we're giving something 100% attention.
Yeah.
What are the pros and cons? Because obviously you probably had to weigh this up in your head quite a bit.
Yeah. So I think it also kind of just depends on the structure of like your job and where you can find that time. Because I do think it's definitely possible. Once I got into the routine and I was like, okay, I can't slack off, I need to go to morning training. Okay, then I have school, then I know I need to, basically I went back to like my high school days where I was like, I need to wake up early, I need to block out this time to do these things. When I was doing that with my master's in the second half of the year, I was like, okay, this is good, this is what I need. But I do, for me at least, because everybody is different as well as an athlete, that is just what I needed to just lock into my sport. So I think the pro for me was I had one sole focus, and I knew I was putting all my eggs in one basket, but I was going to leave with no regret, because I know myself, and multitasking I can accomplish sometimes, but for the bigger things, I really need to just zone in. Yeah. And I think some cons obviously can just be where you're not feeling like you're giving either one a shot. So you just need to take a break. And then sometimes that break can hinder like your training or your progress.
No, completely. That makes so much sense. So as well as like the training in the pool, what else did you do to kind of build muscle, strength, stamina? What other kind of workouts were involved in your training?
Yeah, so a lot of times when I was doing my master's, I was going to carve, I was doing Pilates. I think that helped me tremendously with not only like building muscle, posture, but I had my shoulder injury, so that just kind of helped me tailor those muscles as well. I also got into running. I wasn't a big runner, but coming here, one of my best friends, she was a runner, and she was like, let's just run on some days. So I started joining her. I also did some workout classes where they would do running and weights. So I think that was also kind of adding the variety, a bit of cross training. I want to say that was mainly it. And then when I was locked in and just eat, sleep, swim, I would go on easy runs and like walks as well. Hot girl walks was my thing.
Yeah,
and a good podcast.
Yeah, a good podcast. I guess if you're like, obviously swimming's really great for muscles because like you're not straining it, but obviously running can be a bit more strenuous, but then it's probably great for stamina.
That's what I was thinking all the time. Yeah. And also I was training in altitude as well. So I wouldn't go crazy, because I actually listened to one podcast about like female athletes. And I think a lot of times we're thinking we want to get fit, we want to work out a lot, but then you don't realize how much you need the rest. Yeah. So rest is also very important. So I think something that I added on was just sleep as well. And then really big, when I was kind of just eat, sleep, swim, I would add in meditating and yoga. Yoga was huge for me.
Wow. So why was that so good?
I think one, that was a moment where I was kind of separating myself from swimming, where I just kind of literally shut off my phone, moved it to the side, put on my yoga with Adrian, and I was like, I'm locked in for the next hour. And that kind of helped me find that space. And flexibility is actually very important when it comes to swimming as well, just for our shoulder mobility, also ankle mobility when we're kicking. So that was something that I was like, I need to get better at.
Amazing. I mean, we obviously met through Carve, and like we touched on it on the panel, but like it is amazing for posture.
Yeah.
And I love running. I'm big into running, and I've got the marathon coming up in April, which is really exciting.
Amazing. Congrats.
Thank you. If I get there. I tried to do it a few years ago, and it got injured.
Yeah.
And that's what actually when Pilates came into things. Okay. Because then I saw a physio, and he was like, you got to go low impact. And I was like, low what? Like I was a high impact.
No, I need to go.
Yeah. And so got into Pilates, and it made such a difference. And now when I run, I can just feel so much stronger. My posture's better. My stance is better. Like everything just feels so much stronger.
Yeah.
And so Pilates is so good for that. But I guess hearing your process and like your training, you can see how disciplined you have to be. It's like yoga, hour, meditate, block. It's like, wow.
Yeah.
And do you find it easy to meditate?
Now I do. I think before it was very tough. Also, I feel like I would wear my Garmin, or I would always have my phone on vibrate, and I'd be like, what is that?
Yeah.
And then I'd like check my message. I'm like, okay, I don't need to like attend to that. But then to fully shut everything off and then zone in, I find it much easier. Something I also do is I journal, and I find that also meditating. Some people find it like homework. I find it actually quite soothing.
Yeah.
So that is also another way that I guess I meditate.
Do you do it in the morning or the evening?
So I do it in the evening.
Yeah, I do it in the evening. I say I do it in the evening. I went through a period of time where I did it in the evening.
Would you start it back up? Like,
yes.
have you? Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. For me, I think evening's good. Well, I think evening's good because you can reflect. Mm-hmm. But then I sometimes found that it would then stimulate me.
Okay.
And I start thinking before going to sleep.
Yeah.
And I'm a massive one for that. Like as soon as I stop and close my eyes and try and sleep, my brain decides to go into overdrive, which is really fun.
Yeah.
And really love that. So in the morning, I thought that could be really good because it can be getting me going, like revving me up. But I do like the reflection side.
Yeah.
So I do want to pick it back up again because I do see the value in it. And I do think it's really good just to process and like analyze where you're getting to and just let, I guess, pen to paper and just flow and just like not overthink what you're putting down.
Yeah.
And then when you read it back, it's quite like exciting and interesting to see.
So the thing is, I never read my journal on she's back. I think one of the things for me is, especially sometimes again, as I mentioned, I can get very stressed, or as you said, like you kind of go into overdrive. If I like start to think like that, I'll just put everything down, shut it, and be like, okay, that is it. Like chapter closed, tomorrow's a new day. Yeah. And I think that has kind of helped me also. Because when it comes to swimming, sometimes, actually, this might be like another connection with like pros and cons. When you're working, I feel like come 6 p.m., you're kind of like, okay, work is done. Like now I move on to the next bit. When it comes to your sport, sometimes you keep thinking about the training, or you're like, okay, what's tomorrow's set going to be? And then you start panicking about that. Yeah. Or you're like, oh, I swam like this today. Am I going to swim like that tomorrow? It's really hard to shut the brain off for that aspect. So sometimes I would write in my journal, okay, this is what I did well at training. Maybe this is what I didn't do well, but then that's it. That's done, because tomorrow's a whole new day.
That's so true. I guess also though, everything you do every single day links to your performance. Mm-hmm. So whether you're making dinner, breakfast, tea, coffee, walking, everything, you're probably thinking like, how's this benefiting me? How's this not benefiting me?
Yeah.
Having a drink with your friends, is this going to hinder me? Like everything.
Wanting to get a snack.
What snack should I have? Is that bad? Is that good?
Yeah.
So let's touch on nutrition and the nutritional side. It's like how, obviously it's an important part.
Yeah.
But how does that look for you?
So How does it look? Well, as I said, I love to eat everything.
Yes.
So I don't really hinder myself when it comes to cooking. I use whatever I'm feeling, or if I want to get a snack, I will go get my snack. I think I'm a lot better understanding like proportions as well, where I love digestives, but I'm not going to go get the whole pack of digestives because I know I can finish it easily. So I'll get a small bag and I'm like, okay, Julimar, like 2-3 today and then maybe 2-3 tomorrow.
Yeah.
But typically something really big that I also learned during my recent training was breakfast is huge. Like breakfast is a really big deal. And I think before that, I wouldn't eat before I go train in the morning because I was like, oh, I'm lazy. I want to just roll out of bed and go. But I would do gym before swim. And if I didn't eat anything before gym, I'm just kind of lifting. And then I have another 2-hour session.
Yeah.
And you're tired.
Yeah.
And like water isn't going to cut it.
No, but I'm the same. Like, I'm a massive breakfast person.
Okay.
I love breakfast, but I like breakfast about 10 o'clock. So, I mean, you're saying you're getting up at 5:20. I'm not going to be having my breakfast at 5:20.
Yeah, but the thing is, you don't have to have a big one. So what I learned is I had a nutritionist when training for Paris, and basically what she was like, you need sugars, you need carbs, because you're about to weight train and then you're about to go swim. So I would literally just have like some crackers. I would get a wrap, put some peanut butter, jelly, a banana rolled up, and boom, that was my snack before the gym. And then I'd eat another pack of crackers before going to the pool, and then I'd have a huge breakfast.
And what did that look like? Are you sweet or savory?
I'm both.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. She is both. She wants her.
I'm literally
she wants
the
her
most annoying
sausage,
person.
She wants sausage, egg, and cheese on a cinnamon bagel.
Yeah, I am that easygoing person that will eat anything you give me. But basically, I would have like a bowl of yogurt, Greek yogurt, huge. I would literally eat that like breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Greek yogurt, granola. Sometimes I'd put beetroot powder in it as well. Just a lot of like oomph because I was also altitude training, so that was really important for me.
I just quickly on the beetroot powder. I have got beetroot powder in my cupboard. I got given it.
Okay.
And I don't know what to do with it.
Yeah. So put it in smoothies. Put it in your yogurt bowl. I had that today for breakfast. Put it in your yogurt bowl.
Okay.
Yeah.
Beetroot in my smoothies. That's
you could even do like a little glass of water and put your beetroot powder in that if you're feeling it. That's not really my cup of tea.
Okay, fine.
So I like adding stuff into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay. Okay, nice.
Yeah.
So that was breakfast. So and then
but there's more.
There's more.
There's
Please
more.
continue.
Yeah.
I'm in. Keep going.
So then there's also, I would put in some blueberries, some fruits, whatever fruits I had. I would put that into my yogurt bowl. Now I'd eat like half while I'm actually cooking my other breakfast, which would be like either another wrap or like bread, some toast, because I needed carbs. I think something really important that I learned is that carbs are very like big to fuel my body. And then I'd have eggs. And then I'd put some veggies in my eggs. So basically an omelet or like scrambled eggs. And then I'd put that in my wrap. And so then I would go from my sweet to my savory to then back to my sweet.
I love it. She is a sweet savory mix girl.
Yeah.
I love that. You keep mentioning carbs. And is that something that you had to kind of train yourself into? Because I do feel like as girls, we see on Instagram or we hear or we, get told by media that like less is more and like no carbs and like all of this kind of stuff. So, but as an Olympian and a swimmer, like swimming, you burn a lot of calories. So obviously, well, in a lot of sports, but particularly in the pool, I feel like you do burn a lot. So I'm guessing you had to probably train yourself to be okay with this.
Yeah. So at the beginning, I would just eat like maybe one tiny little pitter wrap and I'd be like, oh, that's fine. And that would be actually like for the whole day. And then slowly I'd there was one point, especially, again, this might be TMI, but like during my period, I would have very low levels of energy and I'd just be like, oh, it's fine. Like, it's just because of low iron and I just need to add more supplements. And then my nutritionist was like, no, you actually need to eat more carbs because carbs give you energy. Energy makes you happy and that'll make you feel much better during this time. Yeah. And I was like, amazing. And I did. Yeah. I was like, it's crazy how somebody that actually knows what they're talking about. And I listened. It works.
Yeah.
So yeah, I really did have to train myself because I think a lot of times as well, swimming is a sport where you see a lot of the body. So sometimes it can be very hard with body image, especially when you're going through puberty, your body changes and fluctuates. So I did have to teach myself carbs and protein. I think protein was also something very important where I would just... Also, an air fryer has completely changed my life.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I just keep dropping all these
I'm loving
things.
it. I know a lot of people love the air fryer. I haven't actually got one. My issue with air fryer is I only have 2 plugs in my kitchen.
Totally fair.
So my coffee machine and my kettle are plugged in.
Yeah.
Toaster, I have to put it in and out and in and out.
Yeah.
So the air fryer, I'm like, I have so many gadgets. I'm like, do I need another one? But I have heard it's great.
I am a big believer. Again, if you're really busy, you can literally just stick what you want to cook in there, turn it on, go do your other stuff, and then come back. So that really helped me cook like my proteins. And that helped because you need that to build muscle.
Yeah.
And I was kind of like, oh, you're right.
Completely. Well, I went through a whole protein journey really because I have been plant-based for a long time and you really need to work on getting a protein in. And when I was really focusing on it, I was like, oh my God, like I definitely haven't been eating enough protein. And my brother's always like, eat more protein. And I'm like, yeah, I am, like spinach. Yeah. And he's like, you mad? And I'm like, yeah.
You're like, no, that works.
Yeah, that's fine. Chickpeas. And like they are great sources. They are a source of protein, but they're not an amazing source of protein. So now I'm like a lot more wary of protein intake, and it does make a difference because I am a massive one when it comes to like gymming. I'm gymming every single day.
Yeah.
And you know, when you're putting in that much effort, you want to see results.
Exactly.
And sometimes you're like, it's not there. Like, why not?
Yeah.
And I was like, protein, hello, that's why.
Yeah.
So it definitely makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
And let's talk about periods quickly because you mentioned it, and I just thought, actually, is this something that affects swimming? Because obviously, like, I don't know, if you're going on holiday and you come on your period, you're like, oh my God, no, I'm going on holiday and I'm on my period.
Yeah.
Whereas like when you're in the pool, like most days, like that must really impact you.
Yeah, I think so. That has been a very much learning journey. This is going to be completely honest. I feel like a lot of times we don't really know what's going on with our cycle. And I'm actually learning this very recently because again, TMI, but I was on birth control, and I kind of would somewhat have to utilize my birth control because I was like, I don't want to get my period during my competition.
100%.
So I would have to like manipulate it, and that's actually kind of crazy.
Yeah, that is crazy. That is crazy, but makes so much sense because why would you? Like,
because you feel low energy, and you're like, oh, how do I avoid that by continuing to take my birth control so I don't get it? So recently I've actually come off because I'm like, I want to cycle sync. I want to learn that process, and I want to actually understand what my body's doing. So this is a whole new chapter for me. But back with the period before, I would talk to my nutritionist and be like, okay, what do I need to kind of change? What do I need to like add to my diet in order to help my body during this period? So again, as I mentioned, like carbs, or obviously I would be a big snacker. So I would like eat a lot of peanut butter. And she's like, you don't need to eat that much peanut butter.
How much peanut butter am I talking about?
I like could eat a whole jar in a day. It's actually really bad, but
it's so good though. So you're peanut over almond?
So good. Yes. Yes.
Oh, no, I'm
and
almond.
I actually used to be a smooth peanut butter person, but now I'm crunchy.
Oh yeah, the texture.
Yeah.
The texture. That's probably the sweet savory thing for you. Again, it's like
it really could be.
Yeah. So that's really interesting about cycle syncing because I think that we hear a lot more about tracking now and like tracking our cycle, and it's not something that I've actually done. And I'm also on birth control, and like so tracking is a lot harder. But I am actually really intrigued to do it just to see how I feel. Like I know when I'm about to come on my period, all I want is chocolate, and I have this overriding like craving for it. Like I'm like, oh my God, someone give me chocolate right now, otherwise I'm gonna literally murder someone. So I have this crazy craving, but I'm really intrigued to see like what phases I'm in and how my body is. Because I think it is important to kind of feel in sync.
And also just understand what you're going through. Like
definitely.
This is our body. And the fact that we like don't know, or it's not really taught. And now, I mean, there's pros and cons to social media, right? Because obviously anybody can put stuff and you're like, oh, this is what's happening. But there are people that are really knowledgeable putting good information out there. And so that's like what I'm trying to read and understand so I can fully tailor when I need to lift, or when I need to do more HIIT, or I need to actually rest. So it's been really good. But I would recommend, at the moment, we're doing well.
Okay, well that's really good. And what else did your nutritionist tell you?
Well, I had a few supplements that I needed to add as well. So I started taking like magnesium, calcium tablets as well. I didn't really drink milk. Drinking a glass of milk like isn't really my shtick.
No.
I know, but some people really liked it.
No, it's not for me.
Not for me.
Not for me.
But actually glasses of chocolate milk I can do, which is very important. So I started adding that. My nutritionist had me do that. I always knew chocolate milk was good for recovery. But I was just it was always available at my university at BU. So I would just do a glass of chocolate milk after practice. I wouldn't go out of my way to do it as I graduated. But now I'm kind of like, okay, to really recover, a glass of chocolate milk wouldn't hurt.
Wow. And what brand of chocolate milk are we going for? Like, are you making it at home? I'm like, this is great.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if they sell it here, but like the Milo.
Okay. Yeah.
So I would just do that and make myself a glass of chocolate milk with that. That was really big.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah.
And do you still see a nutritionist or not?
So at the moment, I've kind of been taking somewhat of a break. I think going from Tokyo straight into training right away was lovely. However, it was kind of hard mentally for me. So we're taking a bit of a break. Luckily as well, my nutritionist was my friend's mom. So she was always helpful. And she's somebody that I just hold very close to my heart. Like, I don't think Paris would have, she played such a huge role in it. So sometimes she does help, like she messages me and I kind of just shoot her a message. Love her. So I wouldn't say I have a nutritionist at the moment. I'd love to start working with her again should I start to train like at an elite level. But right now I'm kind of just taking everything that I've learned and tailoring it, because I am kind of transitioning right now to like a corporate girly.
Okay,
and
nice.
and training on my own and doing like what I enjoy that's not going to a pool 24/7. And the body changes with that as well. So I need to kind of coordinate what I'm eating kind of based off what she said. But obviously I'm not elite training, so I can't fully do everything that we had worked on.
Yeah. Okay. Makes sense. And what are the goals for the future? Because obviously you've been to the Olympics twice. You've got a national award, a national record.
National records, yeah.
And that's pretty cool as well. So like, what is up next? What are your goals for 2025?
Yeah, so at the moment I have signed up for a half marathon. I think
Amazing.
it's very big.
That's great. That's good.
A lot of swimmers transitioned into running. I am that person.
Yeah, we love it.
Yeah, so I have a half marathon coming up in March. I would love to start doing triathlons as well. Yeah, and then maybe, let me speak this into existence, like a half Ironman.
Oh my God, wow.
Later on.
Okay, this is great.
Yeah.
And do you think another Olympics is on the cards?
That I have no idea yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it is exciting.
That is very exciting.
And I think, yeah, I guess, because I know that like I'm a runner, but I struggled to cycle. Like, and it's funny because you're like, so at home, my dad's got a Peloton and I love going on it. But my dad does it all the time and he's great at cycling. And then sometimes we go on runs together and like I'm better at running. Yeah. But I'm like, God, it's the same. It's not the same though. Like you can be good at running but struggle cycling and blah, blah, blah. So do you feel like running is definitely like harder for you, or you feel that?
No, 100%. So I feel like cycling, because I've cycled to so many places, I'm like, I got that down. Swimming, obviously we got that in the bag.
Yeah, that is definitely
let me say this now and then like watch me in my try and I'm like struggling there. But yeah, I would say running is probably the hardest part for me. At the moment, I run very, very slow, but also just because I love conversational pace, or like I like tuning into my podcast. I would like to work more on my fast twitch muscles, but I also think that relates to my swimming, right? Because swimming, I would do 200 freestyle. I wasn't really into the sprinting of like a 50 or 100. So I still think, because I don't have those fast twitch muscles, also scientists like don't quote me on this, but I think that's why it doesn't relate to my running.
Okay. Nice.
So I'm trying to work on that as well. Although I guess, I don't know in a try if you really need your fast twitch muscles, but I feel like to get that spurt of energy right from the beginning, it would be very, very helpful. Yeah. Especially as you're transitioning from like one to the other.
Yeah, for sure. Oh my God. I don't think I'd do this.
Have you done a try?
No.
Okay.
No. Running is enough. I used to love swimming when I was at school. Like loved it. Yeah. But like to
be fair, we could do a relay.
We could do relay. Yeah, we could do relay. Yeah, that would work. So what are your health and wellness like non-negotiables? I mean, obviously we've mentioned a few, but like what things can you really not kind of go without in your day?
Yeah. Well, we said journaling.
Yeah.
I'm trying, before when it was just fully training, I would do yoga every day. At least now with the changing of my schedule, I want to do it at least once a week. So that's something that's very big that I'm trying to incorporate back into my life. If I can do it more than once, that's great. Pilates, also at least once a week. That is like something that I'm really trying to bring back. Also drinking a lot more water. Yeah, I think a lot of times you forget how important it is.
I was on a podcast recently and they were like, what is the one health or wellness thing that you think doesn't get enough airtime? And I was like, water.
Yeah.
I was like, it is a free source.
Yeah.
Take a sip. There is no like conversation out there which tells you that water is not good.
Yeah.
So like it is one thing that is like guaranteed good for you. And also the quality of our water. I was like, it's the one thing people should focus on. Like, where are you getting your water from? Like, I hope you're not drinking from a tap in London. Like, sadly. But it's like one of those things, I'm like, it is just one of the easiest things to be doing more of.
Yeah.
So water,
I
agree.
For sure.
Before we get to our last question, I want to touch on hair and swimming, because I'm like, I feel like this is the thing. As a girl, I don't swim that much because of my hair. Yeah. And I'm like, when I did swim a lot, like I was like in the swimming team at school, and I was like getting up at 6 a.m. and doing a lot of that kind of stuff. And I used to get my hair went green in the chlorine, and like my hair texture went like really funny, and the pool and me just didn't love each other in terms of skin and hair.
Totally fair.
So how about you? Like was there a time when you're like, oh my God, like this is just a lot, or were you not as precious as me?
So my hair isn't naturally, right now I have keratin. So that's why my hair is very calm. I think my hair has it has evolved for sure with all the swimming. And I think I've also learned how to take better care of my hair, which has been very important through this whole career. I obviously swimming morning and afternoon, you'd be showering all the time. You're using shampoo, conditioner, like going through so much of that. I've kind of realized that my hair sometimes does well with just shampoo and a certain type of shampoo. Like I don't need conditioner all the time. That is something that I've learned actually quite late in the game, which is a little unfortunate.
Too late, actually. I heard that way too late.
But I think that, and people a lot, I actually got asked this recently, if your hair gets wet when you have a cap on, and I'm like, it really does.
Or you're washing your hair twice a day.
Yeah.
And that's a lot for your hair.
And that's a lot, and it's a little too much. So that's when I kind of realized, I think that's when I kind of halted on the conditioner, because I was like, okay, maybe certain types of shampoo would be a little bit better. Not a lot, but just clean the hair and then refresh, because the next day you're about to go at it again.
Yeah. And what about like makeup or like other areas of like beauty? Because obviously you're on show. Yeah. And like you say, you're like probably your most vulnerable state. You're like in a swimsuit. Yeah. So is makeup worn, nails done? Yeah.
So I think some people like the same way I feel like you see some people go to the gym and they'll have their makeup on, and then other girls like might just be barefaced. I feel like the pool is something very similar, because you always have cameras, especially the big competitions. There's like pictures being taken, there's people filming, there's interviews. So you always really do want to look on your best form. For me, I wouldn't have makeup, but my nails were like the one thing I could not splurge on. You can ask any of my friends and I could be like, yeah, I need to get my nails done and I need to get them ASAP.
I love that. I guess because like you say, like your hands are featured, like your stroke and like
your finish, everything. When I was younger, I was like, I need long nails because then my finish would be quicker. That actually didn't really work. But mentally, I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to swim so fast because I'm catching more water. But now I would just like have a nail salon, and I'm like, okay, if a meet's coming up, I would do like my flag or I'd do my colors, because I'm kind of like, this is making me feel patriotic. And also I'm about to go race and represent. So yeah,
I really love this.
Yeah. I had the most gorgeous nails for Paris. Like obsessed. I love my nail salon in Bogota. Shout out.
I love that. Yeah. Oh my God, amazing. So our final question is, what would your last meal be? Starter, main course, dessert.
Oh, okay.
I know. I love this question so much.
Starter, main course, dessert. Okay, I'm going to start with dessert because this is the easiest one for me to answer. An apple pie with ice cream.
Okay, plain vanilla?
Plain vanilla ice cream. Yeah. Yep. But an apple pie, maybe you can put in like maybe like an apple pie cheesecake slice.
Oh yeah. My God. Okay. I mean, where's the best apple pie?
Shout out the Cheesecake Factory. They're not the best apple pie, but they do have a cheesecake apple pie slice. Okay. Which is how that combination came into my head.
Okay, nice. Yes. Okay, love it.
But the best apple pie I did get once was in Maine, and my mom will not stop talking about this place. We can't remember the actual name, but like we went there, got it, and then we're traveling and driving back, and we are obsessed.
Okay.
However, we never found it again, so that was actually tragic.
That's really sad.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
And then starter, hot take, I'm going to do like barbecue pulled pork nachos as my starter.
Okay.
Not huge, but like small.
Yeah.
But nice. It has everything, like guac, sour cream, cheese, beans, pulled pork.
Oh wow. Yeah. Okay.
Some people might take this as a main, but that's not.
No,
this
it's
is
not.
A
It's a
starter.
small. It's a small.
And it's shared. It's multiple people.
Yeah.
And then my main. Maybe just like a nice bowl of ramen.
Yeah. Have you been to Bone Daddy's?
I have been. Yeah.
Great.
Very
and
good.
Tonkotsu?
No, never been there.
Okay, Bone Daddy's I think
Yeah.
probably has a slight upper hand.
Okay.
Yeah, they're
Okay.
great. I love ramen. I like a homemade ramen as well.
Yes, and I feel like it's just easy. It's soothing. It's calm. Yeah.
I love that.
But now
Okay,
hot
great.
take. Actually, let me add in another dessert.
Go
Because,
on.
I'm Latina. So
Yeah,
we're going
and
to do...
also, it's your last meal. You do
Exactly.
what you wanna do.
Yeah. Okay, and arroz con leche is also very good. Yeah.
Okay, tell me what that is.
So that's like a milky kind of rice with cinnamon, and it's cold. Or actually, I guess you could eat it kind of warm. But yeah, that's just like a dessert, but it has rice in it, and it's like not soupy.
like a rice pudding.
Yes, kind of like a rice pudding, but
And
cinnamon.
do you have any toppings? Is there peanut butter on there?
No.
No. You can't do that. You can't do
Yeah.
that. That's illegal. No.
Jail.
No. Yeah, jail. Immediate jail. Oh my god, I love it. Julimar, thank you so much for coming to my kitchen.
Oh my gosh,
It's been
thank you.
so much fun. I've
Yay.
absolutely loved it. Your story and everything is amazing, and I'm excited for potentially more swim time soon on TV at some point.
we shall
Maybe.
see. We shall
Let's see. Amazing. Well, thank you so much.
Oh no, thank you so much for having me.